Time now for today's speed round, brought to you by Verizon. 5G built right. Let's get into it. If the courtship for J.J. Watt comes down to two teams, it'll be between who and who, Miles?
The Titans and the Browns. I think the Titans need him, and the Browns also need him, but I think the Titans need him maybe a little bit more, but the Browns can pay him more. So that's why I would say those two teams.
Yeah, I will say the Bills and the Packers. Those are the two teams I think it's going to come down to. I think he really wants to play for the Packers, and if the money's close, I think he'll pick Green Bay, but it's still going to be a while. He's 1 week into free agency. We'll see how that plays out. Next one, Big Ben will be the Steelers quarterback this year if what? And I am told we must be specific.
Okay, I hope this is specific enough. I think he will be their quarterback if they can bring his cap number down to around $27 million, and they can do that through the extension. And Mike, you've written extensively about this, and that explains it far better than I could say it. But I think if they can bring that cap number down to about $27 million there, then that'll probably be close enough where the Steelers say, we can put enough around you, and he says that's enough and that I can be comfortable with what I'm making.
I think that he will be the quarterback of the Steelers this year if and only if the Steelers objectively believe they will be a contender if he is on the roster. If they do not objectively believe they'll be a contender, and I mean Super Bowl contender, not playoff contender, because they'll be a playoff contender no matter what they put together. They have to objectively believe they will be a Super Bowl contender with Ben Roethlisberger. If they don't objectively believe that, then I think they will move on from Ben Roethlisberger, whether they cut him, whether it's a mutual thing, whether it's a retirement, where they don't ask him for any money back, whatever it is, I don't think he'll be with the team if they don't believe they will be a Super Bowl contender. Next, which quarterback would you buy most stock in for 2021? Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, or Jalen Hurts?
Matthew Stafford, and I don't think it's close. I think looking at that Rams team, they are built right now to try to get to a Super Bowl, and I think if we all know that Sean McVay is a really good schemer of offense, and now we can see what he can do, with that thing really unlocked with the QB, who has probably a little bit of a higher ceiling than Jared Goff, even at Matt Stafford's age, I think that makes it not very close. I would go Matthew Stafford there for sure.
I'm just fascinated by how that trade, when it becomes official, March 17, 4:01 p.m. Eastern, is going to help us figure out who's to blame. Was it Stafford or the Lions? Was it Goff or McVay for the recent regression of the offense? And maybe everything works out. Maybe it works out great for both sides, and both quarterbacks have a rebirth. But I agree with you. Stafford is the stock that I would buy right now moving forward because of that partnership with McVay and that rejuvenation that McVay is going to be feeling. Next topic, do Devin White's comments about the Chiefs, he was on FS1 earlier this week saying, hey, they shouldn't say anything about not having their starting tackles for Super Bowl 55. They didn't do anything to help them. 5-man blocking 92% of the time. Will that spark changes for the Chiefs, Miles?
I think it depends on if they can get their starting offensive lineman back and if they are healthy. I think if you have your starting left tackle out there instead of Mike Remmers, who's your backup right tackle, and then, you don't have to move your guard out to tackle and play him there, I think that makes it a totally different scenario. Now, if the Chiefs have to go back and they don't have their starting offensive lineman, then yeah, that probably should prompt changes. But if you have your starting 5 that are supposed to be out there, then maybe it's a different result because you have guys that are playing up to that caliber, Mike.
Yeah, I think the key is the changes need to be made at the backup position. You got to have tackles who can come in and get it done when your starters get injured. That's the benefit of having a quarterback who doesn't take every last dollar. Money is left over to bolster the ranks of the second string. Also, yeah, schematically, you got to be ready to keep somebody in to help block and not expect Patrick Mahomes to run around with his hair on fire for 497 yards in a 60-minute game behind the line of scrimmage trying to find someone open. So I hope those comments are going to spark some changes. I hope that he didn't have to say it to get the Chiefs to look in the mirror and spark some changes. They're going to have a hard time getting back to the top of the mountain. Make a bold prediction. Who will be the next person or group that Tom Brady takes a shot at on social media? We mentioned that because of his 1-minute video where he dredges up the various snippets from a full season of criticism of things that deserved at the time to be criticized. Now that he's holding his 7th trophy, who's the next group or person who gets it from Tom Brady?
Literally you and me from yesterday's show when we started making Tom Petty jokes and, I made free falling, stop dragging my heart around references. It's going to be either us or, I don't know, maybe somebody who said something, not so nice about Gronk before. But he's definitely going to take another victory lap from winning this ring at some point. I wish it would be Belichick, but I feel like it's more likely to be you and me.
I'd like to think that he's not going to do it again. I'd like to think that he realizes he shouldn't have done it the other time, that it does make him look petty. But I do hope if he does it again, he uses a Tom Petty track as the soundtrack. That would make it perfect, because he's always come off as self-aware. So many of these star athletes aren't, and that video made him look not self-aware. But if he would do it again, at least let us know that you recognize you are being Tom Petty, and go ahead and play the Tom Petty song. And if the estate of Tom Petty sues you from the song catalog for rights or whatever, you got the money, write the check and move forward. All right, last one. No, okay, good. It's not that. It's not. There was one more that I thought was real. It's not real. Thank God. We'll be back with more PFT Live right after this.
Pro Football Talk is brought to you by Verizon. 5G built right.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.